and you're touring, like, unless they're booking the tour for you, unless they're acting as a manager, see, how the fuck are they getting a piece? That's what I'm saying.
Don't ask me. I didn't. Because
that's where an agent gets a piece, because they book it, they set it up, they arrange the publicity, they do all that. Like, they deserve a piece. Like, that's a business deal. Like, it seems like they're just stealing money.
Well, it seems a little bit like that. I would agree. I mean, like for instance, in our business, we make 10% of everything we earn. So that's basically, we know that we can make a certain amount of money, and by the time we've paid everybody, we'll take 10% home.
For all the band members?
Each band member gets 10%. So 40%. Okay, 40%. Of what we make.
And this is not even taxes. You're not even talking about taxes.
We're not talking about tax. By the time the taxes you were decimated. But we are one of the bands who don't have to pay a percentage of our touring and our merch. And we're one of the bands who get a very high royalty on our records, because we only give away a tiny percentage of every record to our distribution company. So we're one of the lucky ones. So we're always thinking, well, if this is how it is for us, how is it for all these other young artists?
And there's a big thing about young artists. They have to pretend that they're rich. So everybody has to drive around a Ferrari. You have to have a $30,000 watch on your wrist. You have to walk around like a baller.
But like I really reject all that, and I think I advise everybody else to reject it too. I think we're beginning to move towards a new world order, because the worshipping of money, we can't sustain our lives and our world the way things are right now.
Well, it comes from people being poor and wanting to aspire to be rich, and then once you make it, you have to sort of put that show on, right?
Sure.
I mean, that's a huge thing in the rap community, right? With rappers, it's almost mandatory. It's very rare that someone bucks the trend where they're not wearing a lot of jewelry and driving around a Bentley.
Although I feel that, again, that's changing too slowly,
I hope so.
You know. But yeah, I've never fallen in love with those kind of acts, you know, whereas fur coats and limousines, and I don't know, it's just not my style. Yeah, no, it's well, I mean, it comes from, you know, economically deprived people that finally break through. Oh, of course, I understand. Yeah,
it's always been, but it's almost like the fun part of like the rap business, like a big part of the fun part. I mean, how many fucking rap songs are about jewelry and diamonds and cars and mansions? And
you see, when I was growing up, as we were talking about being the same age earlier on, it was really uncool to talk about money.
Right.
And all the cultural heroes didn't have money and would never talk about money.
Right.
And actually, often it was heartbreaking when you've discovered they were rich, because they were kind of our working men's heroes, you know, our working man heroes. Like, go back to Kurt Cobain. He wore, like, Converse All-Stars and ripped up jeans and flannel shirts. Even further back than that, you know, like John Lennon or somebody
Lou
like
Reed.
that, you know, all these cats, you know. But that's what I was sort of indoctrinated in when I was growing up, for which I'm actually eternally grateful for. I don't want to be somebody who worships money. Well, it's a foolish thing to worship, because, you know, the ultimately, like, what an artist is doing is they're trying to express themselves in the most unique way possible and connect with people, right? You're trying to show the world through your eyes. You're trying to express yourself. And if all you're trying to express is that you want to stack checks, what is it? What do they call it? Stack on deck? What's that? Stacks on deck. Stacks on deck. That's like a big thing. The rappers, those kids today, talk about stacks. I wouldn't mind the stacks on deck. Stack on decks, just to have